Welcome to our weekly YouTube exclusive and NBA Good 10 Minutes here for the Ryen Russillo Show. 17th annual NFL quarterbacks and their NBA player equivalent. So 17 years of doing this. Probably not true. We got Ceruti with this one, who's going to be involved. He's going to be heavily involved. So Ceruti, the thing that I've loved about this historically is like when you nail one, you're like, this is great. But when you don't, you think years later, you're like, wow, what did I even think? So in the moment, you know, like there's ones that I used to love that I was thinking about now. I'm like, I don't think it works anymore. So it's not just about physical stuff, although there's definitely some physical appearance stuff. It's like, it's kind of whatever you want it to be, but you've got to sell it a little bit. So I know you have some that you want to review. Do you want to wait to the end for that one?
Yeah, I think you do this year's, and then because I want to see if you have some of the same ones. But there were some doozies last year that I are fantastic. So I think we let you do a fresh slate this year, and then I'll remind you of what happened last year and see if you're still on the same page.
Well, because that's the thing is I think they change in the moment. I'm sure that's exactly how I felt. Okay, this one's we're going for it on the first one. Wembenyama, Drake, Maye. Now, let me sell it. Physically, there's just no quarterback we can compare to Wembenyama, even prime Cam Newton. But then again, even the best version of Cam Newton, I don't think you were ever thinking like, hey, will this guy have the belt at quarterback, even though he did have the MVP season. I would say it this way, and that Wembenyama, who not shockingly is hurt now, that was announced as of today of this taping. But the jump from 2 to 3, what we've seen the first few weeks, that I thought people were in a hurry to anoint him as a top 5 guy, certainly top 10 because of defensive impact. But what I saw from him at his best, I'm like, okay, this guy's like easily top 5. And now this is in play for him to be the best player in the league a couple years from now, probably. Right. But with that would come resume, playoff experience, that kind of stuff, playoff success. So look, is Drake Maye going to be the best quarterback in the NFL? That would still seem unlikely, but he is just off the charts this year. Number 2 in QBR, number 1 in completion percentage, number 1 in yards, number 1 in yards per attempt. There's all sorts of stats that just check every single box. It's not like he has a loaded team around him, which there's a lot of pieces with the Spurs. I think Castle's jumped the second year. Fox just getting back and healthy. Keldon Johnson's been better for him this year. Harper, their top pick, has been hurt, so he hasn't got to play a ton. So it's not like Wemby's playing with like 2 Hall of Famers though with this. And Maye's roster, I would say the Pats is probably the bottom 16 as opposed to top 16 for the most talented roster. So really this is about how soon they are part of a conversation that certainly in Maye's case, none of us thought this was going to be happening in his second year. There's more people who thought this was where Wembenyama was supposed to be in his third year, but yeah, I was just a little bit more hesitant. Like I'd want to see a little bit more of it than before people putting together top 5 lists and having him in it this summer before we even saw what he was like at the beginning of this year.
Who do you think is the most physically gifted quarterback of all time? And then that's when you go, okay, is it like Elway?
Yeah, Elway's in the conversation. You know, I know people will say Cam because of his size, but I don't think as a thrower anybody would compare him to like Aaron Rodgers. Peak Aaron Rodgers, just a thrower of the football, I think is the best thing I've ever seen. But then you combine everything that Elway could do. I mean, Josh Allen might be physically the most gifted guy. Lamar's arm becoming what it's been is probably in that too, just because of the way Lamar can make everybody miss. But I'll keep running through these. All right. I was trying to come up with one for Stafford, and I thought about Kawhi. And it's like, okay, 1 ring. He's going to be thought historically as an all-timer, but it was never necessarily like his league, even though there's an argument in 2019. But again, 2019, the only reason they won the ring is because 2 Hall of Famers and the Warriors went down. But I don't think that's fair to Stafford because now Kawhi just doesn't play. He's not a great partner. Stafford is clearly like the best partner ever and exactly what McVay wants out of a quarterback. So what if we go Durant?
I had Stafford? The same thing.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah, because, you know, like Stafford's your favorite quarterback's favorite quarterback. And I feel like Durant is like your Hooper's favorite Hooper. And I think they're likely underrated but for different reasons. Like they're probably not given the respect that they're due for totally different reasons. Durant is a lot of different off the court things, yada, 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 who he is, yelling at random eggs on Twitter.
Yeah, but that's not even that bad. Like in the grand scheme of off the court things, like Durant to be around for this long, there's nothing really.
He's not a bad guy. I'm just saying like there's distractions around him that kind of make people not like him or at least respect his game as much. Whereas Stafford, it's more of like he played in Detroit for half his career and like I think I just saw a stat the other day that he just his record is now above 500 for the first time ever, which is because I've loved Stafford forever. And I'm just so happy he won that one ring because it's like, thank God, like this validates how good this guy is. And now like he might be the MVP this year. And both these guys are older, still playing at the top of their game. So Durant, I thought was because Durant, I think last year we had Rodgers, which also makes sense. But I don't like that one as much now.
No. And Durant will take a ton of shit forever historically, unless he wins a ring in Houston, where his rings are going to be devalued by the basketball public, which I completely understand. That would not be the case necessarily for Stafford. I think your Hooper's favorite Hooper, quarterback's favorite quarterback is the perfect way to say this. All right, a little off menu here. Cam Thomas, Shedeur Sanders.
All right,
they both think they're awesome. Cam's done a little bit more at the professional level, to be fair to Cam. He was also not everybody's, like, he wasn't on the radar for anybody. Restricted free agency. Shedeur's draft day, fall. But the people that like them think they're awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think we need to add anything to that. Okay. In the past, Lamar was Embiid because there was a significant drop off regular season to the playoffs. Both had an MVP. Lamar in the conversation for best quarterback. Embiid at the time MVP, like in the conversation of, is this guy, like I never thought he was actually better than Jokic, but he wins the MVP that season. That's fine. And I actually voted for him that year. All right.
You regret it, but you voted for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Clear. Just to be totally transparent here. So the Lamar Embiid thing worked. It worked. I saw some people after we do this, usually a couple shows will do it, glad everybody's having fun. It was basically like, hey, just make Lamar Harden. But I thought everybody really liked Lamar. And prior to the last couple of years, I still felt like a lot of people really liked Embiid. I don't know that anyone outside of Houston necessarily loved Harden. So there's also a popularity part of this. I don't know if there's an Embiid, but I'll throw it at you. Is Embiid Burrow?
Oh, just because of the health thing?
And numbers?
Man, I just like Burrow's attitude so much more. I just feel like Burrow is a dude. And Embiid, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to.
It's been a tough couple years for Embiid.
Yeah, I think that's disrespectful to Burrow.
Is Burrow Zion disrespectful?
I thought about it, but like Burrow's injury situation isn't because he likes to enjoy New Orleans or Cincinnati. He doesn't like Skyline Chili. Like Burrow's thing feels unfortunate, whereas Zion's thing feels self-inflicted. But I get what you're saying. Like, but the only thing is like Zion was supposed to be this generational whatever guy, and Burrow was kind of like not that. And he just is like, wait, is Burrow now like one of the best quarterbacks? It just sucks that we don't see him play. I didn't have one for Burrow, so I don't have a great one. I'm open. I'm all ears.
Burrow Zion is disrespectful. Burrow played in the Super Bowl. Zion has been in the league for 7 years, hasn't played in a playoff game. So that one doesn't work. Maybe there's a little Louisiana top overall pick thing there, but that's a bit of a reach. So I don't know that there's a really perfect one for Embiid like it was in the past because Lamar's approval rating is so much higher than Embiid's is now. How about this one? And this is about the positive side of it. Lamar, Anthony Edwards. So you've got Lamar's last playoff run off of the 24 season. Those games are better. The only other game that he had prior to that was a couple years ago, the Houston game. But the overall numbers regular season to the playoffs, there's still that drop off. But I think we all feel better about Lamar after the last couple playoff games, even though, again, he didn't even make it to the AFC title game. And you could say in the 24 finals run, Western Conference finals, I should say, there are a couple moments there, but he's as much fun to watch as anyone in the league. I think, there's just kids everywhere in every single market for both leagues where Ant or Lamar are their favorite players. And I think from a positive standpoint of the personality, of how much fun it is, and still being short of that ultimate moment where Lamar as a quarterback's going to get more shit. But like Ant, if he doesn't get out of the West here in a couple of years, is going to be the exact same thing. So I think if we focus at least on the positive and then maybe the potential negative, that makes more sense than what we've done with Lamar in the past.
I like it. Both like kind of for the culture dudes, like keep it real. Both of them are, I think themselves, which is refreshing. That's why we like them. They're not afraid to be who they are. They're confident. Lamar,
you feel like you know exactly who they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's why people like them. So I'll take that. I think that's better for Lamar because now the Lamar Embiid thing feels just anyone you compare to Embiid is going to be disrespectful. I feel like so.
Josh Allen, Luka.
I thought about it, but just totally different types of athletes. Like Luka is just kind of a fat European. Oh, he's not fat anymore, I guess. So I can't say that.
Yeah,
but he's
take it easy.
Traditionally a fat European guy who just is like, incredibly skillful. Whereas Josh is just chunky. 99. If he creates a quarterback, you create Madden. Basically, that's unfair.
Allen now, when they're in the goal line, it's like, hey, you're just going to run it every time because
he never gets hurt.
Unstoppable. Yeah. And Luka is just once he's inside the paint, it's like, well, which way is he going to score? Or am I going to foul him? Or is he going to kick it out to the corner for a wide open three? It's like once he's here, it's sort of over. And basically, it's like whether Allen is in the conversation to actually be better than Mahomes right now. Luka, I think at his best, I don't know that I've never had him ahead of Jokic, but there's probably been times where it's Luka or Giannis for me. There's a chance he could be the best player in the league still because he's still so young. Allen certainly has a chance. I'm sure plenty of people believe right now, and the stats would back you up, that Allen is actually better than Mahomes. They weren't saying that after the Miami game. But anyway, I think that one. I think that one makes sense if you're thinking about, does this person or this player in this case have the chance to be the single best player in their respective league, and yet they don't have that ultimate prize, but they've gotten really, really close.
You know what it is too, I feel like is, and the reason I'm thinking about it, I like it more, in their sport. I mean, you could probably say Jokic on this, but I think Jokic's like surroundings are mostly better than what Luke has had in his career. I think those guys, like as far as they just take their team as far as they could physically go, basically. Whereas like I think Mahomes, he has Andy Reid and help. Like Lamar's got a good organization, has had a decent team around him. I think they're like SGA, Jokic, Giannis. I think they've had like good things around them. Whereas I think those two guys, it's kind of all on them all the time.
Yeah, I think there's another good part of that. I mean, when you start watching Allen's receivers here, I mean, Shakir's a nice receiver, but I mean,
Gabe Davis is back.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't loaded, and it's not like Luka has had a loaded team around him. Although you could argue the style of play that he has, that really you just need defensive rim runners and then shooters all around him. You can't have another dominant on-ball guy. Although, look, Kyrie was terrific for them for the most part up until the NBA Finals. Okay, what else we got? How about Baker Mayfield, Jalen Brunson?
I had Donovan Mitchell, but it's kind of a similar thing. Yeah, guy who kind of is overachieved, smaller. I kind of like Donovan.
Are we
Mitchell's
guilty of just small?
Yeah, probably the guard.
Okay, but I think there's more to that. I mean, Brunson's start to his career is certainly better than Baker's. Baker's on his 8th head coach here, all right? But he's settled in, and with a new team, his fan base appreciates him so much, even though it's like, look, they had Brady. Brunson, the same exact thing, and it's so much fun. But you could, if you were going to touch on the net, it's like, this is awesome, but there might be a ceiling that's a little bit lower than we'd like to admit.
I think that's fair. Yeah, like he was in the MVP, Baker being in the MVP conversation like 3-4 weeks in, and now it's like really sort of cooled off. But then again, like he's lost a lot of the offensive weapons, so who knows? I think yours is probably slightly better. But as I think I enjoy watching Donovan Mitchell play, and I enjoy watching Baker play. I think that's why I put them together. I don't really love Jalen as much. He's kind of a foul hunter. He's a tough watch, actually, if you really get into it. Sorry, Knicks fans.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. There is no quarterback. He's a wide receiver. You have one?
I do have Ja. I think it's Kyler. Mostly because I think both teams kind of just not so secretly are done with them. And there's a lot of feelers. Like, did he get quietly benched? He gets put on IR. Like, Ja's been in trade rumors. Like, who even wants him? What's his value? I think both guys are really talented. Like, I'll say it. Like, 3-4 years ago, like, I think it was his first or second year, I was all in on Kyler. I loved Kyler. And now I'm embarrassed to say that out loud. But And the same thing with Ja. Like it's just like, oh wait, I used to love this dude, and now he's a huge pain in the ass. So I feel like, but it's mostly because I feel like both teams don't want them anymore, and they're kind of good, but not really. But their trade value is probably not much. So add them together.
Kyler was always the Trey one, but I actually think that's unfair to Trey now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can make the argument, hey, the Hawks are now
Better.
We'll see how this goes, but
Yeah.
there's definitely more and more of the Hawks are better without Trey. Your offense isn't as good. Your late shot clock options are not as good. Your defense is definitely better. Arizona's said we're done. So Memphis hasn't said that about Ja. Atlanta's never going to say it, but we'll see what happens if they don't offer him the full max, which, could stay. I mean, hey, we still want to stay in business with you. We just don't want to pay you that much. I don't think Trey's going to love that. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Ja is better. The Kyler Trey thing worked better years prior, but now it feels disrespectful to Trey. So, Ja works out better. Anthony Bennett, Anthony Richardson.
I had Ben Simmons for Anthony Richardson.
That works.
Not good either way.
What about Dylan Gabriel, Reed Shepard? I don't even know what that is.
Like the how did they get here guy? Is
Reed's
this a Make-A-Wish
pick.
situation? No, Reed's been playing really well, so I'm happy for
that's
him.
That's not a good one. How about this one? How about JJ McCarthy, Jonathan Kuminga?
I couldn't think of one for McCarthy. Like guy
It's too soon.
Yeah, but who was just like, oh, I don't know. Like I think Scoot is a decent one where it's like, hey, you watch him for like a really short sample size, you go, oh boy, this might be bad.
Hey,
I know
take it easy.
I know Scoot's kind of turned it around, but it's like, who's the guy who like 3 games in, you're like, this might be a mess.
Rookie year Scoot is a really good one for JJ. Because there's some
like
of us
totally lost.
Yeah. Like, what's going on here, buddy? Andy Dalton, Joel Ingles, that one's the easiest one. Okay. So what did you have for Mitchell again?
I had Baker.
Okay. What about Mitchell Dak?
I've kind of been on this thing that I think Dak is Tatum, but the Celtics title kind of ruined that. Because I think they're both good, but I also think they're just a step below. I actually think Dak is really good. All the people that bash Dak, I think he's a really good quarterback. I just don't think he's like
been awesome this year.
Yeah. I just don't think he's at that upper echelon. And I think Tatum's kind of the same way, like really, really good. But I don't think he's like in the, he's not in the Luka, he's not in the Giannis, he's not in the SGA, he's not in the Jokic category. I think that's kind of where Dak is. Dak's like a top 5 to 10 quarterback, but I don't think he'll ever be in that top tier.
Donovan Mitchell's 7th all-time points per game in the playoffs. Dak doesn't have a number like that, but it also feels a little bit like, man, these guys are awesome. Man, they put up a ton of stats. But Mitchell hasn't had any kind of sniff of any of the playoff success. Dak takes way more shit than Donovan Mitchell does. But that has probably as much to do with him being on the Cowboys as literally anything.
That's why the Tatum pre-title thing worked, because like they both took a lot of shit. But now it doesn't really work.
Kyle's chiming in. He wants to know who Jacoby Brissett is.
You mean like the record setter for most completions in a game? Who's like is it? Wow, that's disrespectful.
Scott Skiles?
Say that. Wow, yeah. Yeah, who's like a random outlier stat guy? That's probably it. Who's the most obscure guy to score 50 in a game?
Scott Skiles had 30 assists in a game in 1990.
Yeah, magic. What's up?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's one guy I'm thinking of who scored 50 and like he was just not. It was like recently too, and it was completely out of nowhere. I don't know. It'll come to me.
Not Cat. Okay.
I kind of like Jacoby Brissett. It's not terrible.
I got one for you I'm not sure about again. How about Paolo Jaden Daniels?
I had Paolo.
What do you got?
CJ Stroud.
Awesome,
I think,
but not supported.
I think
but Orlando's way better than Houston.
Okay, I think my logic is, and maybe Magic fans won't like this, I'm sorry. I still am a believer in Paolo, but I think first year, CJ and Paolo, you're like, whoa, this guy could be like the next thing. And since then, it hasn't been as awesome. And I think there's a lot of question marks around. Like, I think CJ's good. I just think there's a lot there's a lot of shit around him, and I don't really know how to explain it. The offensive coordinator was kind of weird. The offensive line's terrible. I think Paulo, like it's is he efficient? This and that. For that second season when he led the entire Magic team in a 7-game series against the Cavs in points, rebounds, assists. As a second-year guy, that's unbelievable. But I think from the high of what their first year was to where they are now, I think the general public is a little bit disappointed in both of them, even though I think they're still both really good.
Okay, last one for the active guys right now. This might be my favorite one. Jalen Hurts, Draymond Green. Let it sink in.
Does little things, winning moments, but you're on his own. What is he really?
I think it's, hey, we probably could have won this. Thanks for everything, but we probably could have won. Draymond probably, I don't know, prime Draymond, his playmaking, the defense. I mean, the guy's still running around there fucking chasing Wemby and battling the entire time. So if you had to ask me, who meant more to their team, Draymond, where I think there's 15 quarterbacks that could start for the Eagles and have won a Super Bowl last year.
But there's something, I think you're right on it. There's something uniquely specific that works with Jalen and the tush push and the way they run the ball, and that whole thing just kind of works, right? It's yes, if he was on the, pick another team, it wouldn't work because they wouldn't run the offense that they do. And the same way that Draymond, playing center, not a lot of teams back in the day would have made that work or done that. And uniquely, they both fit their teams perfectly. And it's really hard to judge that guy in the greater league, circumstance.
Yeah, death lineup. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody starts going small, trying to pretend they can do the exact same thing. And it's well, you can't. You can't. So maybe it's not 15 quarterbacks. Maybe it's 14.
I got a few more. I'll throw at you quickly. Sam Darnold, Josh Giddey.
I feel like you just picked two young white guys.
Well, one's Australian. I mean, it's not whatever.
Yeah. No.
I just think
sell me.
Both were highly thought of in the draft process. Didn't really work out for various reasons along the way, and then they've kind of found their home and are now really, really good.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a Darnold one, but I was attacking it differently, being who is the media darling that is not playing? Because the media darling's Herbert, but he plays. So for Darnold, it's everybody was man, if you could just get a couple starts with the Niners and look out if, and everybody just was holding out hope. And then he has that Vikings year. He's bounced around more. So obviously Giddey's only changed teams once, but it's been so good at the new stop. There's a real moment of is this real?
I think it's real. I think both of them are real. I just think your ceiling is not as high as maybe you would like it to be, but they're both good players now. When it was what is this guy? Is he even in, Yeah. I think we all knew Giddey was more of a circumstance thing, whereas Darnold was is he the seeing ghost thing? I thought his career was over. And it's just, I'm happy for both guys, and there you go. This one you're not going to like.
Yeah.
Caleb. I had Lamelo.
Ugh. That hurts.
Only because
that hurts so much.
I think they're both spectacular at certain things, and they are league pass, whatever the NFL red zone darlings. When Caleb's running around, it's unbelievable. But can they do the simple things right? Can they just do the little things that win games? And I know the Bears are 7-3, but I kind of feel we all think that's smoke and mirrors. I think both guys are incredibly talented. I'm just not sure what it means and how what the winning ceiling is on that.
Yeah, it really dawned on me the last few weeks with Caleb. Really locking into it where, everybody knows how much I liked him coming out of the draft. I don't need to revisit this. Maybe it's just a YouTube audience. Maybe you're watching somewhere in South Korea, but I liked him. And then it's okay, a bad year, and then it's a new system and we'll see what happens. And then I finally figured it out, after 4 or 5 weeks of watching it. I was he does not take the simple drop and let it rip on the read. There's no way these guys are that covered that many times. You can't, I don't think you can play the way he's playing this year, despite them winning and having these big time moments. And I know Orlovsky called him a problem solver on TV, but I really feel that's playing the results of just, hey, they keep winning. So we have to figure out a way to be positive about him. He was not good at all in that Minnesota game, which was just yesterday, the taping of this, but he needs to figure some stuff out where Lamelo gets benched by Charles Lee. So he did last year. He was hurt a bunch of games this year. We'll see what happens. Maybe they're just being delicate with him. That one stings.
I know. I don't want to do that to you, but
yeah, that's all right though. It's about the content, not feelings.
One more funny one: Jackson Dart, VJ Edgecombe, just electric to watch. Rookies, better than you expected, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, all right. I like that one. But the Giants, I don't know. It's like the Giants knew that, and Philly has this disastrous year where they thought they were going to be competing for a championship. At least that's what they were selling right before the season broke in 24. And then it's like, no, you're actually going to end up with like a top 5 pick and then get Edgecombe. And it's just, it's ridiculous. But the 26th draft could be really ridiculous for some of the guys that get assigned to some of these teams that have other teams' picks. All right, let's review then. What did we have from last year? Give me three.
Last year, we went over a couple of them. You had Caleb as Scoot.
That's probably because I liked both of them so much.
Yeah.
But it was a rough start and held out hope. Yeah.
This one was unbelievable. Anthony Richardson, early Giannis was your comp.
Okay, but remember early Giannis. Early Giannis, I mean, it sounds horrible now, but early Giannis wasn't necessarily good at basketball. He just had these physically gifted moments where like, oh my God. And then he develops into, at one point, the best player in the world. Richardson, somebody had the clip going the other day. That bomb that he hits to the end zone from like 60 yards out, and he's actually being hit. So he's like moved off of his spot, and it's almost all arm. I do think he completed 9 passes in that game.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he sucked in the game, but he has this absurd highlight. And that's what I always remember about early Giannis is that everybody freak out about the highlights. But if you've watched the game, I know he should have been lost. I mean, he hadn't played much high-level basketball at all. He was just a completely gifted guy who then grew like 4 inches and added, 60 pounds of muscle. So, early Giannis, do not confuse early Giannis with current Giannis or the last 6 years of Giannis.
A couple more funny ones. Speaking of Colts quarterbacks, you had Daniel Jones as Jordan Poole. Just, I guess,
Does
a
it
disaster.
still work?
I don't think so. I think both guys have kind of, there's kind of been a reclamation project for both guys, I think.
Yeah, a little bit,
You had this. See, this is why I think my Stroud Paolo one makes sense, because last year you had Stroud as Ant. That's high praise.
I think Stroud Paolo is great. But again, Houston's defense is terrific, but whatever's happening to them on offense, just kind of the entire team not being in it. Orlando should not be as bad as they've been to start the season. There's no way this is a below 500 team. They should have 46 wins at least. So when you look at their best 5 out there at the same time, you're just like, there's no way this team is bad. Houston does not have that version in the NFL, despite the great defensive numbers that they have so far.
This might be the one that changed the most. And I couldn't think of a good Trevor Lawrence one this year. But you had Cade last year, which I think kind of made sense. But those guys have gone in polar opposite directions, like polar opposite.
Yeah, but always held out hope. It was probably about holding out hope after. Okay, but then Cade has that year that he had last year, what he's done at the start of this year. Like, I love Cade.
Yep.
And this was a give up on Trevor Lawrence season where I just went, I don't know. I think I'm out. Watch. Yeah. They were great on Sunday, but he's just not as good as we wanted him to be. And I don't know why that's going to change now, although the new thing, something that just didn't happen in the league for like 20 plus years, because I've talked about it, because I would go look at like the first round quarterbacks and then who ended up going to a new team and then actually winning a playoff game. Not Stafford because he was traded, but somebody who was basically cut. And it's like, okay, on to the next team. And now we've had it happen a bunch where these guys on these next stops that are former first rounders, like it's different than what the history was prior to it. Basketball, there's not like some guy that can't make a shot, scores 7 a game, and then all of a sudden is like scoring 27 a game. It just doesn't really happen.
That's why it's hard to find guys like I was trying to find somebody for Bo Nix. Don't know. Like a guy who just wins in basketball, but we don't think is that good. That doesn't really ever happen. That's harsh on Bo Nix. I actually like Bo Nix more than you do, but
yeah, have fun.
And then actually, I forgot this one. The best one from last year. You had Josh Allen as Caitlin Clark.
I forgot about that one.
for various reasons.
Yeah. Actually, that one's still perfect.
Yeah.
That one still checks out. All right, that'll do it for Ceruti and I. Our 17th annual NFL quarterbacks as NBA players. Feel free to use it with your friends. Please subscribe to the YouTube page. Comment below. Leave us some comments. Shout it out. Sound off in the comments.
Listen.
Yeah. Sound off in the comments. Tell us what we got wrong. We're open to it. God, I forgot how good that Allen was from last year. But I don't keep notes on all these. And check out the podcast, the Ryen Russillo Show, part of the Barstool Network, every Monday, Wednesday, and late release Thursday night into Friday morning.